Tell me a little bit about what you're seeing in the payment landscape in terms of complexity and what's driving the industry around payments.
Like there are in general three main drivers. One is of course the ISO 20022.
I struggle with that one too.
Yeah. Like the initiatives to enhance all the formats, get rid of the old Swift fin formats, and that with providing more additional remittance information as well to corporates, and then on the other side hand all the compliance issues with fraud, security topics, all that are drivers in that area. Yeah.
What does a corporate need to be thinking about in terms of, you've got Swift, you've got Nacha, you have EBIX, what's going on in that space in terms of changes or format changes or even new networks that are being developed?
Like for the corporate in general, it's the most important point to evaluate how he can connect to his banks through the most cost efficient way, and that can be Swift. It can be mainly in the US, like with host-to-host connections, but in Europe we have as well the EBIX channels, and now all the APIs are coming up or are being discussed. So it's getting even more complex for the corporates, and in that way he should rely on a partner that can handle all the channels available to connect him globally, and not just through one network and through one format, to like regarding the whole complexity about payments and formats and statements as well.
Okay. I love that you brought up the API. So tell me, just high level about API and what does that really mean for a corporate in terms of what that's going to do in the industry?
There are a lot of initiatives going on, like how corporates can get more information of their banks, and that's the whole API regulation. But at the moment there are a lot of like evolutions going on what the banks want to provide, but they are not all now aligned. And I personally don't expect that they really align. So in the end, it's the question how many APIs are out there, and the corporate still needs a solution to not build up another or connect to 10 APIs, and probably use as well Fides or a treasury aggregator to connect to one API, and then the treasury aggregator connects to his banks.
So the API is really trying to speak one language, but it's not likely it's ever going to get to just one, but it's hopefully going to simplify things at some point. Okay. What is it beyond just gathering the reporting or processing the payments? What other services can you provide?
What Fides in particular provides is like we do the whole validation on the payment files as well on the statement files received. We do for payment files as well sanction filtering. In that way we already filter payments before they are sent to the banks through official sanction filters that would have or are used by a bank. On top of that, we can provide as well beneficiary checks. Means like if a corporate wants to be really secure in the way he can only execute payments within his solution to certain accounts, that can be limited on our side. Additionally, we provide our own front-end applications which can be used for corporates to sign off payment files as soon as they are within Fides. That means it's not released within the ERP or treasury management system, it's rather sent or released out of Fides when it's within our environment.
Can you sort of walk us through how it might evolve when from one to the next, and where you get to? Do you need to be a certain size before you might need to migrate between the two, and just sort of background on those two topics?
That's how we define a payment factory from Fides side. Means a corporate, for example, implements a whole ERP, and all the ERPs are on the same version, and then all legal entities hand in their AP files, and they are managed out of the Treasury Department, for example. And they just want to have one gateway, and the company manages all the flows internally with one solution. However, as we see, there a lot of acquisitions are going on, then new ERPs are coming into a corporate organization, and they have another need for TMS solutions and so on. There, the focus is on payment hubs. Means a global active corporate maybe has like 4 or 5 TMS systems or ERP solutions, and he wants to have one gateway to connect to his banks for the whole group and for all the systems, and maybe use as well the front-end application just to manage all the flows coming out of all the systems. And that's how we define a payment hub, and therefore it's what Fides can provide with acting as a platform for whatever system is connected. in general best solution at the moment in the market. Yeah.
You know, what should I be thinking about when I'm trying to consider, you know, implementing a payment hub? Sort of maybe the one or two things that you see that might make it easy for them to assess. Are they at the right place? What would be the first one or two steps they take toward implementation? And is it really difficult to implement, or is this something that's achievable?
Even if it sounds like there is regulation going on, or and there is only one network like the SWIFT network, it's not only about the network. It's as we always say, it's as well about the format and the whole implementation, who is running the implementation. And there the corporate has to decide by himself what he wants. If he wants to leverage all the tasks to an external specialist, or if he wants to cover that internally with his own resources. What we see is like if corporates leverage it to a treasury aggregator, he benefits of having a third party running it for him, and he doesn't have to struggle with IT processes internally. He can focus on his core business, and that's in general no connectivity. And therefore we have quick implementation timelines. The treasury aggregator has capabilities of format conversions, taking care about statements that are not in the right format as well, all that validation and conversion stories, besides establishing all the connections to the banks.
Well, tell us a little bit about what we can expect from Fides in the next 12 months or 24 months. What's new and happening there?
There is a lot going on, especially we, as I highlighted, we have new front-end applications, completely ISO 20022 conform. It's a really different feeling for the customer. It's intuitive, it's web-based as well, so accessible from wherever. And we just released the payment application, can be used by small corporates or as well as sign-off application as indicated for large corporates. And we are releasing in about 2 or 3 months the reporting engine, which gives the corporate a global overview of his cash with pie charts and other reporting possibilities, besides all the ongoing renewals or enhancements in our backend to comply with all the new regulations, with all the new formats to bring like converters and all these developments faster to market.
That sounds exciting, and it really makes it more understandable for me that what treasury aggregators can provide crosses all size organizations, from small to large. It's not that big and scary to think about when you hear treasury aggregators or bank connectivity, that you have to be a major multinational organization. You service all sizes across the market.